Hello, dear friends. Welcome to Spiritual Bloom with your spiritual guide and twin flame coach Neha. In today's episode, we will be talking about celibacy and celibacy, how it impacts our life, not just in a spiritual journey but also in a twin flame journey. And I will also tell you the differences that how celibacy is practiced or its ancient belief in spiritual awakening and also its significance in a twin flame journey. So, celibacy does not only mean avoiding physical relationships. At a deeper level, it means mastery of one's energy. Every human being carries powerful creative energy within them. In spiritual traditions, this energy is considered sacred because it has the ability to create life, transform consciousness, and awaken higher awareness. When this energy is constantly scattered through desires, attachment, and physical indulgence, the mind becomes restless. But when it is preserved, respected, and directed inward, it becomes a force for spiritual awakening. In many spiritual traditions around the world, sages and seekers practiced celibacy not because they rejected love, because they wanted to transform desire into divine awareness. The same life force that creates physical life can also awaken the soul. So, as we all know, that the reproductive system or the reproductive organ of a woman is a very sacred space, sacred part in a body, not just in body, in spirit, which leads to a main chakra. Main chakra in the sense like it arises, it is linked to the kundalini. So many people have a very they don't have a good sexual discipline. Like before awakening, they think that it is easy to sleep around or have intimate relationship with anybody. But a full grown spiritual person who is awakened will never do that. They have spiritual sexual hygiene. They are never going to make love with anybody whom they don't have feelings for, or they don't consider that person worthy of making them their lifelong partner. And in many religious texts, in different religion, it is also considered a sin. Now, if I talk about religion, many people might get offended, but I have to speak because it's about the truth. It's not just about religion. That why in various texts, it's always mentioned that, sex before marriage is a sin. Any kind of sexual energy which we exchange leads to exchange of energies. For example, if you have an intimate physical relationship with a person, the person might look very good from outside. He or she might be very good looking, might be earning, might be well educated, well dressed. But do you know about their wounds that they carry? Do you know about the traumas or the blockages or the karmas that they carry in their womb or in their reproductive organs? You don't. Yet you sleep with them. Yet you get intimate with them. And what happens? The result is you take their energy, good and the bad. You carry the bad energy, the bad karma along with you. That's why many people I have come across, they date certain people for many years. They have a physical relationship or they even do live in relationships. I'm not against all these things. People have their own choices, but I'm just explaining the perspective of why celibacy is important even in the normal world, even if you are not awakened, and especially after awakening, you come into realization and you will never do that. So many people they date, they come into live in relationship, they have good intimate times, which is not wrong. But when the person leaves, or maybe their energies are not aligned, they break up, they no longer live together, the person whose energy was good suffers the more, because the other person's energy was already blocked. He or she had many karmic blockages. So I will basically describe not like a disease, but then, you know, he or she gives away that energy to the other person. And what happens is, after that person leaves, suppose you are doing very well in your work, in your career, that gets blocked. You start seeing poverty. You start seeing, difficult days in your career, in your life. Why? Because that other person's energy was not good. They left some parts of energy which was dark, which was karmic. That's why in many religious texts it's been written that it is a sin. It is sin for a reason, because it hampers you. It does not benefit you. That 2-3 minutes of pleasure does not benefit you until and unless it is with someone with whom you have a spiritual connection, or with whom you are married. That's a different scenario. So why it is important to be a celibate, especially when you are a awakened person, when you understand energy, when you understand how the kundalini works, and how you can transmute your sexual energy into creativity. That is the moment you'll stop getting intimate with anyone. You will not feel like. You will not let anybody touch you, because you know that your energy can give birth. It's a life force energy. At the same time, that life force energy also has creativity, which you can transmute into physical world, get creative, and that can also earn you money. That is why kundalini power is an extremely powerful part which stems from our reproductive organs, intimacy, yoni. That's why it should not be played with. And also, many people nowadays, it has become very common, kundalini activation, but these things are dangerous. Dangerous in the sense, if you try to activate your kundalini without a proper guidance, or without having proper knowledge, it is very dangerous. You cannot just awaken your kundalini. There are tricks, there are methods. It takes months and years to activate that. In twin flame journey, it is, I won't say it is activated automatically, but it activates after a certain time when they have done the inner work. So don't take your sexual life very lightly. It hampers a lot of things. Sometimes it, like I told you, it blocks your energy, it leads you to poverty, it even leads you to bad health. Suppose if you are not having any kind of disease, you might suddenly have a chronic disease. I have seen all these things, and I'm telling you through my experience. I have seen people around me getting stuck, being poor, for having a bad spiritual hygiene. This is hygiene. You just cannot sleep around with anybody just for pleasure. And especially when you have ascended, pleasure will seem nothing to you. You'll feel like pleasure is just a part of this world. It's just an attachment. Attachment to money, attachment to sex is also an attachment. That's why people, they pleasure themselves so much on their own. They masturbate. It's not a bad thing, but some people are addicted to it. They waste their energy. This is the most precious energy. Sexual energy is the most precious energy. It's a life creating energy. This energy should be preserved. And if you preserve And if you know how to transmute it into creativity, you'll reach heights. That's why many people whose Kundalini has awakened, they don't play up, they don't run behind pleasure, because they have this power of transmuting that energy into something useful. That's why celibacy is important. Once you awaken, once you're in a spiritual journey and you ascend, you'll come to know its value, and you'll never let anybody, get intimate with you. So, on the other hand, in twin flame journey, celibacy can take on a special meaning. A twin flame connection, as we all know, is not merely a romantic relationship. It is a soul level mirror where two beings, they reflect each other's deepest wounds, fears, and spiritual potential. Because the connection is so intense, it often triggers emotional purification and inner transformation. During certain phases of twin flame journey, especially separation or spiritual awakening, many people feel naturally guided towards celibacy. And this celibacy is not a punishment or loneliness, it is a period of energetic alignment. When a person practices celibacy during this time, they stop seeking fulfillment outside and begin finding completeness within themselves. The energy that was once directed outward towards attachment is redirected towards healing, self love, creativity, and spiritual growth. Especially when you come to know that a certain person is your divine counterpart, leaving that person, you will never feel like getting intimate with anybody. And that is natural. That is divinely orchestrated. It's not something you do out of force. When you come into divine union, harmonious union, or even before that, once you come to know that the other person is your counterpart, you will never ever feel like getting intimate with anybody. And that is divinely orchestrated, and from that moment onwards you start maintaining celibacy, and that is how your energy gets conserved. Because you are being celibate, you conserve your energy, and you start healing, you start working towards yourself, you utilize that energy. So celibacy, it also helps to develop self-control, emotional clarity, and inner strength. Instead of reacting to impulses, the individual learns to observe them. Instead of reaction, they start observing them, because celibacy is such a powerful thing that is underestimated in today's world, where people are so much attached to pleasures, to outside things, to material things. They don't understand the power of being a celibate. A celibate does not only make you feel like you are lonely or something. No, your mind, it has control over your mind. Do you know that your reproductive organs are directly connected to your brain? That's why many women, when they are stressed, or their hormones starts reacting, they gain weight, they have these hormonal issues which directly affects their reproductive organs, because it is connected to brain. And when you master the art of celibacy, when you are a celibate without feeling that you are being punished, that brings self-control. Your anger issues, you start being more patient with things around you, with people, with situations. You no longer lose cool. You're very calm and composed. Because through your mind, you have controlled your organs. You are sexually active. Sexually active in the sense, like, many people, we are human beings. We are not robots. You will feel like pleasuring yourself. I'm not denying that. But you know the flow, you know the control, that I'm supposed to conserve this energy because it is precious. And when you start doing that, your brain and your organs, it starts reflecting. You start gaining control over things around you. Mentally, you become more calm. So celibacy, if it is temporary also, it acts as a sacred discipline. That's why these monks or anywhere, they maintain celibacy, because to be a monk, so much mental strength is required. We people, we are not monks, we are on a different kind of journey, but still so much mental strength is required, right? To do inner work, to be patient, to deal with karmic people, to deal with karmic family, to deal with poverty, with financial blockages, so many things to survive in this 3D. So to survive this 3D, your mind has to be calm and composed. It has to align with your heart. It has to align with your soul and spirit. And that only happens when you maintain celibacy and see it as a sacred discipline and not as a punishment. That's why these monks and all, if you see, they are so calm and composed, because they are celibate. They utilize that energy. But in our case, that celibacy is only for a certain period. I'm not saying that it's a lifetime celibacy. No. You have the right to get intimate, but with the right person, in the right energy, in the right mindset. Not just getting intimate with anybody, being in a low vibrational energy, just to satisfy your ego, satisfy your physical desire. You are getting intimate with anybody. No, I'm not talking about that kind of intimacy. I'm talking about an intimacy which is pure, which comes from inner consciousness, pure consciousness, where you have a higher vibration. The other person is also in a good high vibration and not of low vibration. Please don't get intimate with people who are of low vibration. I'm not putting anybody down here, but it will block many things in your life and in your body, and you'll see it in the physical world. You will go through sufferings. So you people, as divine souls, as light workers, earth angels, whatever name you want to call, you should be aware that to have an intimate relationship, I have to be aware. I have to be aware that I need to reach a certain higher vibration. And when you reach a higher vibration, I'm telling you, you will not even feel like getting intimate until and unless the other person is your spiritual counterpart, especially in twin flames. They remain celibate. People who are not destined to be in the 3D permanent union, they remain celibate. What they'll do, they cannot just get intimate for the sake of getting intimate, because they have ascended so much, they have done so much of work. All these things, they feel like it's useless. It's just material things, attachments. So it's a sacred discipline. Honor it. It gives you mental strength, it gives you emotional strength. You'll be surprised. If you're celibate, you'll be surprised at how strong you get mentally. Even in the worst situations, you feel like I'm so powerful. And that power is coming from where? From your yoni, from your reproductive organs, because it is in alignment with your brain, with your body, with your mind, with your spirit. So these things are very sensitive topics. People, they don't like to talk about it. Maybe they feel shy. But being a human, being a divine soul, there's nothing to feel shy. Pleasure is a part of life, but that pleasure should be sacred, should be disciplined, should be respectful. Especially if you are in a higher frequency, you will never ever get intimate. You will say that I am fine being a celibate, and you will never complain about it. But to reach there, that's what you have to have inner union. You have to understand your value. Even if you don't have inner union, if you are in some other spiritual journey, you have to understand your value, your self-esteem, so that when the right person comes, that is the person with whom you are supposed to, or God has destined you to be intimate or come into union with. So however, it is important to understand that celibacy should never be forced through guilt or repression. True celibacy, it arises naturally from understanding and spiritual maturity. That's what I told you. Through higher vibration, through inner work, through understanding of spirituality, being spiritually aware. You cannot force celibacy on someone. That is not celibacy. That is called forced decision. So to come into celibacy, things align automatically, naturally, as you ascend, as you walk through the journey of life, through your spiritual journey, and it has to be respectful. It is a conscious choice to respect one's energy and direct it towards a higher purpose. Respect your body, respect your energy, respect your spirit. The God that is sitting within you, the spirit that is sitting within you. We all have Holy Spirits within us. We do. But it depends on how you master it. You want it to be holy or you want it to be something else. It's in your hands. So when you honor your body, when you honor your spirit, you will never feel that celibacy is a punishment. Ultimately, the goal of spiritual journey and twin flame journey is the same. Self-realization. When a person discovers their true nature, love flows naturally without dependency or fear. Because you love yourself so much, you love your body, you are in self-love, you respect yourself, you honor yourself so much, you keep yourself in such a high regard, you will never get intimate with anyone. You will have high standards. Now high standards, I don't mean like getting intimate only with people who are of rich class or carry some material possessions. High class or being in a high position, I mean to say spiritually high, ascended version, higher frequency. And when the other person is also of such frequency, and when that frequency matches, you'll come to know that this is the person. So celibacy, when it is practiced with freedom, becomes not a restriction but a pathway to inner freedom, clarity, and deeper spiritual connection. Because the universe leads you, the divine leads you. So such celibacy does not feel forced. Instead, you honor yourself and you feel more respectful. That means access to you is not that easy. You have added value to your life, to your spirit, to your body. You have respected yourself. That's why you have earned it. Celibacy is extremely powerful if you understand how it's related to your brain, mind, body, spirit, energy, frequency. So slowly and gradually when you ascend, you know its value. And you start enjoying the journey of being a celibate also. So I hope you like this episode on celibacy in a spiritual journey and a twin flame journey. If you like this episode, please like, share and subscribe. For personal guidance, you can WhatsApp and email me. My contact details have been given in the description box and also mentioned in the video. I am really grateful to everyone who have subscribed my channel. Keep on supporting me so that I can bring more interesting videos that will help you in your journey. There was nobody to guide me, but I am grateful to the divine that I am here and he has led me to lead you all. I will not say lead you all, to show you people the path that is required in whichever way it is possible for me. So please keep on supporting. I'm really thankful for all my subscribers and thank you for listening to me. I'll see you in the next episode.